Hello. Chat.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
How are you? I really hope you're okay.
Hello.
More time now. I am going to things more reading.
Read.
I'm going to read a book.
Now I go read book.
I'm going to read a book today, and the book.
Now I go read book.
The book is little words about a things, animals, more water animals. It's about a whale.
About whale.
The book's about a whale, but before we start, I need to tell you, it is
not good.
Not good.
Not good.
It's not good at the beginning, but then it gets better. So the story is called Nelson's Dangerous Dive, and it's been written by a lady called Ellie Jackson. And Ellie Jackson is describing more positive. She's a kind person. Next page, woman.
Kind woman.
She's a kind woman, and she writes stories about animals who actions need help.
Need help.
She writes stories about animals that need help. And I like little words. These.
I like this.
I like these books. They're called The Wild Tribe Heroes. So this story is about a whale, and his name is Nelson. Mayday, mayday! We need help quickly. Our boat is sinking in the storm. The crew knew their old fishing boat was in urgent danger, but calmly waited for the rescue teams and the helicopter to locate their emergency beacon and save them. So people, pronouns, they actions, need help.
They need help.
The crew over here need help because things, vehicles, their boat is going, little words, down. Their boat's going down in the sea. It's describing more opposites. Broken. The boat is broken and it's going under the sea. As the crew were winched to safety, they looked down and they saw the heavy fishing nets pulling the back of the boat down into the crashing waves. As the bow of the boat started to rise up, the long nets began to unravel, slowly dragging the boat underwater, where it settled on the rocky seabed deep below. I do not like little words. This.
I do not like this.
I don't like this. Things, vehicles, the boat is going, little words, down into the places, more outdoor places, into the ocean.
Boats go down in ocean.
The boat's going down into the ocean. Over many years, nature began to reclaim the boat, turning it into a magnificent reef which was home to many different types of sea creatures. Brightly coloured corals of all shapes and sizes grew along the rails and over the decks. So, little words. This is not more time now.
This not now.
This is not now. The boat has been, little words, down in the places, more outdoor, ocean. The boat has been down in the ocean for describing more size and speed for a long, more time.
Down in ocean, long time.
The boat's been in the ocean for a very long time. Smooth gliding sharks circled the wreck, chasing the fast-swimming fish that darted around the wheelhouse, whilst crabs, lobsters, rays and octopus all found a home amongst the corals. So all of these describing
Different.
things, animals, all of these different animals are actions more, wonder where the word live is. I'm going to search for it because I don't know. Actions, oh, hang on. That means I need to add it. That means it must be somewhere else as well. Place, of course. Live, little words, here.
Different animal live here.
Loads of different animals live here. One day, a curious young whale called Nelson spied the wreck, looming out of the sandy depths below. Astonished to see such a strange and colourful sight, he took a huge breath and with a flick of his impressive tail, dived deep into the shadows to see what treasures he could find. So Nelson is a describing more opposites. Wonder where young is. Describing more. How many? Was it? Young. Nelson is a young whale. And it says here, he was astonished. So he is more feelings. He's feeling shocked. He's feeling shocked because they're saying he has not actions more sensing. He's not seen something like this before. So he decides to go, little words, down. He decides to go down because he wants to actions more sensing. He wants to have a look.
Go down, not want up.
He wants to have a look. Deeper and deeper Nelson dived as the colours around him gradually faded. Once his eyes grew accustomed to the gloom, he could see the hulk of the boat appearing beneath him, the fishing nets trailing far behind in the swirling currents, looking like waving beds of seaweed. Chat. Expressions. Uh-oh. I do not want to actions. No. What happens next?
I do not want to know what.
I don't know want to know what happens next. Nelson began to explore the wreck. When out of the corner of his eye, he saw something flash past in the darkness. As he turned to investigate, his huge tail stretched out behind him and was captured in the nets, bringing his whole body to a shuddering stop. So, people, pronouns. He actions. Cannot. Actions. Get. Little words. Out.
He cannot get out.
He cannot get out. Thrashing about and getting more entangled with every movement, Nelson had to use all of his determination to try to break free of the terrible ropes and nets made of plastic which bound him to the wreck. So people, pronouns. He does not want to be there.
He do not want there.
He does not want to be there. People, pronouns. He wants to go. Actions, more. A to Z. S. He wants to go swimming.
He wants to go swim.
He wants to go swimming. Nelson used his huge strength to try to power through the water, and the whole wreck started to shift around him on the seabed as he desperately tried to escape. Suddenly, with a loud snap, the rusty chains holding the ropes broke free and he found himself floating sluggishly upwards. Nelson was now almost completely entwined in the net, floating up in slow spirals until he reached the surface and finally breathing lungfuls of fresh air. Oh no. Actions, more, sensing. Look at his face. Look at his face. People, pronouns. He, actions, more, sensing. He seems sad. I bet that he's frustrated. And he also looks really lonely. Poor Nelson. Lying still and resting on the surface, Nelson managed to find enough strength to raise his tail and slap it down hard on the water, frantically trying to signal his need for help. Splash, splash, splash. The tremendous sound each tail slap created was quickly noticed by a nearby boat of tourists, who cautiously motored closer to see the commotion. So Nelson is actions, more, A to Z, S. He is showing. He's showing the people. More people. He's showing the people that he wants help. He's showing the people that he wants help. They saw Nelson's enormous and powerful body wrapped in heavy green fishing nets and utterly powerless to free himself. He urgently needed their help if he was going to survive, and yet how could they help such a giant animal without risking their own lives? So the people, more, the people on the things, vehicles, the people on the boat, they want to help.
People on boat want to help.
The people on the boat want to help, but they're asking themselves, how do I help?
How do I help?
How are we going to help? Bravely, the people decided they had to help. Using their boat knives, they cut away the nets one strand at a time. As each rope fell away, Nelson felt the pressure around his body starting to ease, and he had to fight the urge to swim away, knowing he still needed their help. So people, pronouns. He had to not go. He had to not go. He had to stay very, very still because the people are helping him. Leaning dangerously over the edge of the boat, surrounded by nets and at the mercy of a powerful whale, the people had a huge task ahead of them. The giant nets were so tightly wound around Nelson's body, the knives seemed to barely make a dent in their work. Yet slowly and surely the nets became looser, until finally only his enormous tail remained tangled. So the people, the people are doing good work.
People do good work.
The people are doing really good work. Nelson's long fins were now released, and realising he could swim, he started to head further out to sea, pulling the boat behind him. His rescuers were in extreme danger now should Nelson decide to dive. They had no choice but to be towed by him as he swam on. Before tiring at last, he finally stopped. Quickly now, aware of the danger they were still in, the people excitedly cut the few remaining strands from the net around his tail, and Nelson was at last completely free. As he disappeared quickly out of sight beneath them, the tourists celebrated their incredible encounter with this beautiful creature. So the people on the boat, the people on the boat helped him to go into the sea. And when the things, animals, water animals, when the whale had gone, they actions said to each other, describing more positive. They said, aren't we lucky?
Lucky. Whale go, say lucky.
When the whale had gone, they said they'd been extremely lucky. Suddenly, a huge shape powered up from beneath the water as Nelson burst out of the sea into the most spectacular breach. Great big splashes of glistening water cascaded down around him as his magnificent body rejoiced in its freedom. Time and again he dived down only to swim quickly up and out of the sea in a towering spray of seawater as he showed off his powerful tail and flippers for all to see. So people, pronoun. He is going up, little words, and little words.
Down.
He's going up and down in the places, more outdoor places, ocean. He's going up and down in the ocean to actions, say, chat, thank you.
He got up and down in the ocean to say thank you.
He's going up and down in the ocean to say thank you to the kind people. As Nelson swam away for the last time, the people hauled the rest of the heavy fishing nets safely aboard the boat. The captain knew that if the net was left in the water, it would trap even more animals like Nelson. She thought there could be more nets down on the wreck and called the local expert diving group to help them to clear them. So, people, pronouns. She is going to actions, tell more people, more people. She's going to tell more people to actions, come, little words, here and help.
She tell more people, come here, help.
She's on the phone telling more people to come here and help. A team of divers arrived quickly, carrying out safety checks and surveys to work out the best way to remove the remaining nets. Fishing boats have many ropes and nets made from different types of plastic, and the wreck still had several large nets tangled around it. The divers were all highly trained to remove these nets as it's very dangerous underwater work. Right, so people, pronouns. They, actions. They know what to do.
They know what to do.
So the divers know what to do. And people, pronouns. They are going down to actions.
They go down.
They're going down to get the nets. Using special equipment and knives, the divers cut away at the nets, sending them carefully up to the surface to be pulled into the waiting boat. Every piece of rope or net they removed would save many turtles, dolphins, seals, whales, fish, octopus, crabs and lobsters from becoming trapped over the years, and the divers felt very pleased knowing how important their work was. Whew. Little words. That is describing big actions, work.
That is big work.
That's big work. They have to keep doing more. Look, they think they've got this bit and they've got to
do more.
They've got to do more. At last, the nets were brought up to the dive boat and the divers were starting to head for home. They heard an almighty splash just behind them. Looking around quickly, they saw Nelson slapping his enormous tail once more, happily leaping out of the sea with his new friend in a spectacular and rare double breach. He was finally free of the nets that had been lost at sea, free to breach and dive, to swim and explore once again. So when the people, when the people were going places,
home.
When the people were going home, the things, animals, water animals, the whales decided to actions, more, body, they decided to... So when the people were going home, the whales decided to actions, more, A to Z, J, jump, little words, out of the places, ocean.
People go home, whale jump out ocean.
When the people were going home, the whales jumped out of the ocean. The end. Thank you for reading about Nelson's amazing true story. Did you know there are about 90 describing different kinds of whale divided into two groups? Baleen, like Nelson, who have hard, strong plates in their jaws made of keratin. This is the same material as your hair and fingernails. Things, body parts, hair. So it's the same as our hair. I've lost my space.
Hair.
The baleen plate acts like a sieve and traps all the tiny krill they feed on. Toothed whales, such as narwhal and pilot whales, have teeth and feed on fish and plants. The blue whale is the largest animal that's ever lived, even bigger than a dinosaur. It can grow up to 30 metres long and weigh up to 136 tonnes. Its heart is as big as a small car, and you could fit 50 people standing on its tongue. So describing colours,
Blue.
the blue things, animals, more water animals.
Whale.
The blue whale is describing really, really big, and it's bigger than a dinosaur. Whales are mammals, which means they have to come to the surface every few minutes to breathe air, although the sperm whale can hold its breath for 90 minutes. The world record for a human holding their breath underwater is 24 minutes. Whales swim by moving their tails up and down and using their fins to turn. Some whales can swim more than 50 kilometres an hour if they're in danger, but most swim about as fast as a dog can run. When whales sleep, they shut down half of their brain and stay near the surface with their blowhole above the water. Whilst one half of the brain sleeps, the other half makes sure the whales keep breathing air while resting or slowly swimming. All whales are very noisy. They talk to each other using squeaks, groans and sighs. Whales are the loudest animal in the world. Their underwater sounds can travel great distances, sometimes as far as 6,000 kilometres from one side of the ocean to the other. Well, I did not know that.
I do not know that.
I didn't know that a whale was the loudest animal in the world. What are ghost fishing nets? The nets that trapped Nelson are called ghost fishing nets. These are fishing nets which have been lost or abandoned at sea. This is a huge problem in our oceans, as many nets are made using plastic rope instead of natural rope. This means that they are now stronger and last longer, maybe hundreds of years. Nets and other fishing gear can trap animals like whales, sharks, dolphins and turtles, as well as fish, crabs and lobsters. And they will keep doing this for as long as the net lasts. They are called ghost nets as they keep catching animals as long after they have stopped being used by fishing boats. What can be done? So here we're saying, what can you do to help?
What can you do to help?
What can you do to help? Because I don't like these.
I do not like these.
It says lost or found nets can be reported to the Global Ghost Gear Initiative so that they can be brought back to land to recycle the plastic into something new like clothing, carpets or even kayaks. If you are fishing or crabbing, make sure you collect all fishing lines, nets, hooks, weights and bait nets to reuse or dispose of correctly in the bin or at home. Fishing nets and pots should be tagged with the owner's name and tracker so that they can be returned safely. Special bins at harbours and ports can collect nets that have been found at sea by fishermen. By collecting or reporting any fishing nets, pots or line that you find on the beach, you are keeping our oceans clean of plastic and helping our animals to stay healthy. By choosing to eat fish that have been caught locally to you, using line-caught fish or pot-caught shellfish, you are helping to support sustainable fishing. So if you do this, you will be helping.
You do this, you help.
If you do this, you will be helping. So, I have finished things more reading. I've finished reading this book, and I describing more positive. I think it's a wonderful book. I I'm going
Go.
to go now, but I really hope that you've enjoyed that one.